During this project, we talked about 3 key strengths of family daycare, and they're all interrelated. So the first one we talked about was the fact that this is a type of early childhood care and education that happens within the family home. So the environment is very, very important. And it's very, very important for the child in terms of their transition between their own home and then to somebody else's home. So that's a kind of a positive transition, I suppose, for children. But also that the home provides the environment, the materials, the people, the connection with the community that allows for a very particular kind of real world pedagogy, for a relational pedagogy, for a kind of a slow pedagogy, or at least that is the I suppose the possibilities that are opened up for children and their experiences.
In my opinion, family daycare can have certain strengths. Of course, these strengths are only there if the family daycare is of high quality. But in general, I think that family daycare can have a positive impact on children because it's with small groups and a limited number of children. Also, there is one adult and not a constant switching of different faces. This can be positive for parents as well. They can build a strong, warm and reciprocal relationship with the childminder. Family daycare can be of high quality. However, there can be some challenges that need to be overcome. And this challenge is mainly related with the solitude of the job. The childminder works often all day alone with the children, and they have to do everything. Take care of the pedagogical and social function, but also many other practical and organizational things like cooking, going to the grocery, cleaning the house. I think it must be quite a heavy job. And also, they are alone. There is no colleague to which they can ask questions, with whom they can reflect on their practice.
We saw that child-staff ratios need to be correct. There cannot be a large group of children with one childminder or one family daycare. And that is particularly the case with the younger the child. But it really is the case for all children. Because it's very, very difficult to have those kind of nurturing relationships and those strong bonds between the carer and the children if the number of children is just too high. Children just don't get the attention. So that's really, really important. It is truly a home family environment is really, really important. So that's another headline piece of learning I think we have, which is where it's not just about a building and people in it.
An important condition is that the childminder has a qualification, but also that she is supported by a pedagogical coach on the workplace. We also see that high quality is possible with a low ratio. Childminders also need a network of colleagues. All children know the other childminders, so there is always a certain continuity in the childcare.
I think it's very good that you are coming often and you have time, and you also have time to hear maybe some history, some privacy, not to get private, but you have to make this bond between both of you, and you are telling your role, why is you here, what is your job being here, and then you have to be kind and talk to them in a way where you respect them. It has it has to be both ways. And we also take these daycares to some on the office if there are something we are worried about. I think it's very important that you show them that you really want to negotiate with them and make them good, but they have to be open-minded themselves. And to be open-minded, you have to talk about, everything, and you have to guide them.
The strengths of family daycare are only there if certain preconditions are met. It demands a competent system with a childminder who sets high-quality interactions with the children, who makes sure that there is a rich environment and who takes care of the reciprocal relation with parents. This demands a high-quality initial training. This also demands a good support system with continuous professional development, but also with coaching on the floor. I think this latter is really important to cope with possible pitfalls of loneliness and isolation of the job. The childminder needs to feel supported by a pedagogical coach, but also a community of practice or professional learning communities for childminders can be developed. It demands a good evaluation and monitoring system, stressing the importance of both self-evaluation and external evaluation. And of course, the number of children should be limited. Sometimes politicians think that family daycare is the easy and cheap solution, but that's not true. Family daycare also demands a competent system. If we want high-quality ECC, this demands a competent system, and that costs money.
Political will and the support for the policy was really, really important. And even in the space of 18 months in the 3 countries, we could see waning and rising political will and support based on all sorts of things, from national elections to funding, to national budgets, all of those kind of things. One of the things that really inspired me the most when we went to Flanders was the fact that the Flemish have managed to, to bring childminders in from an informal place into the centre of early childhood care and education in terms of the system. They have regulated childminding, they have supported childminding. And they show that that's possible, because in Ireland, we're, as Karen said, we're at that baby step, and we're a little bit afraid and we're a little bit trepidatious, and the fear that when we do regulate, that there won't be any more childminding. So I think the Flemish example really showed us the way that actually that's not necessarily the case, and it may be that some do not want to become part of a formal system. But that actually quite a lot do, and that they will participate. So just that inspiration of, yes, it can be done. If one of the ways that they managed to do that was to have that symbiotic system, I suppose, that Karen talks about, where you have a policy, you have political buy-in for the policy, you have a funding structure that's clearly there around childminding. You have not just national supports, but local and regional supports for childminders to support them with their practice, to go in and provide pedagogical coaching, to actually go into the home of the childminder. Seems to be hugely valued by childminders there. So what I really took from that is that if you're going to regulate, you really do have to support, and you have to support well.
To me, the conclusion has been a little bit different than I had expected, because what I've learned really is that the important thing is not where the child is, if it's in family or in family daycare or in center-based care. The important thing is that we have the quality factors present at the place where the child actually is. And what we discussed in Denmark, what would that be then? What would be quality educational or good quality for children, so that they can experience well-being and have possibilities for good development? And what we looked at was that it was important with a small setting. A small setting can be in family daycare, but it's not a small setting if in family daycare we have 12 children, say to 2 adults. It can be a small setting in center-based care as well. I could suggest around 6 children in a group. maybe 2-3 adults, because that would solve the problem that Tina talked about, that if in family daycare we have only one adult, it can become a pitfall. If the quality is not good enough. And so what we talked about was what is the important thing in childcare for children. The relationships between the children and the caretaker, secure attachment, a stimulating environment, daily communication between adults and parents, supervision of staff, and so on. That raises a question that we've been discussing a lot, and where we have common interests as well, and that's on the education. It's one of the really important factors, apart from ratios, of course, that the adult, if you work with children, you need to have an education, so you understand children and understand their needs and understand how you can create good everyday practices here in family daycare. And I think that's what we discussed. We had a very exciting discussion on the pros and cons for family daycare, and I think really it's not where the child is, but the quality.
The 3 main pieces of learning, I think, for me from this project are the importance of political will and political support in the development and maintenance of a really high quality system of childminding or family daycare, home-based care. You really need that for that to happen. And we saw as part of the project, because it was long enough to see, that political will can wax and wane. And our policymakers need that political will in order for them to be able to do the best for children and to deliver a high quality service to children and families. The second takeaway is about child staff ratios and the importance of not having large groups of children in childminders' homes for reasons that include child safeguarding, ensuring that there is a strong, positive, secure relationship between the child, from a baby up to adolescent, with the childminder, and also for the childminder's own well-being and mental health. And the third takeaway that I have is around the importance of the system. So it's very hard to have, or it's more challenging to have, a high quality childminding service, or indeed centre-based service, when there is a poor system surrounding them. So the system has to be competent, and it has to include, sufficient funding. It has to include really good national and local and regional governance. It needs to have a strong system of support around childminders, not just around their operations, because they are small businesses in Ireland. They were not in Denmark. They're local authority services, but they still require the support for operating a service, but also to be pedagogues, to be experts in children's learning, in promoting each child's potential, and to ensure that each child develops in the way that they should.